some of you may have heard where that story comes from. But for those of you who don't know, I want to just tell this story real quick. My staff loves this story, so they always tell me, tell that story. But it bears on what's happening with healthcare today. This back at the beginning, when I was running for president, nobody thought I could win. Nobody could pronounce my name. And nobody except RT. That was the only person who believed. So I went down to it was right at the beginning of the campaign. I went down to South Carolina to a legislative conference where I was supposed to be one of the speakers. And I was sitting next to a state representative there. Nobody was that excited to see me. You know, I was, but I really needed some support and endorsements because South Carolina was an early state. So I said to this state representative, will you endorse my campaign? And she looked at me and she said, I'll endorse your campaign if you come to my hometown of Greenwood, South Carolina. So I had some wine and I was feeling kind of desperate. I said, yes, I'll come to Greenwood. Be happy to do it. Only to find out that Greenwood's like an hour and a half from every place else. You can't fly into Greenwood. About a month later, I've been campaigning in Iowa for weeks. I haven't seen my family. I've got some Iowa folks in the house. I'm exhausted. I get into Greenville, South Carolina about midnight. I get to my hotel about 1 o'clock. I'm dragging to the hotel. I'm carrying my bags, ready to hit the pillow, and suddenly my staff says, sir? I said, what? I said, sir, you have to be in the car at 6:30 tomorrow, in the morning. I said, why is that? They said, because you've got to go to Greenwood like you promised. Next morning I wake up and I feel awful. I feel terrible. I'm exhausted. And I stagger over to the window to pull open the blinds. And it's pouring down rain outside. Terrible day. And I go out and I get some coffee and open up the newspaper. Bad story about me in the New York Times. I pack up. I go downstairs. As I'm walking in the car, my umbrella blows open. And I get drenched. So by the time I'm in the car, I'm wet, and I'm sleepy, and I'm mad. And I drive, and we drive, and we drive, and we drive. Hour and a half, we just keep on driving. Finally, we get to Greenwood. Although you don't know that you're in Greenwood right away. It's not like Minneapolis. So there's a little field house in a park, and we go into the field house. I walk in, I get a little more wet. I walk in, there, lo and behold, 20 people there. 20 people. And I'm already thinking about the fact I've got another hour and a half I've got to drive back. And they're all kind of damp, and they don't look like they're that happy to be there. The state rep had dragged them to the meeting. But that's okay. I have a job to do. I'm running for president. I shake their hand. I say, how do you do? What do you do? Nice to meet you. Suddenly I hear this voice shout out behind me. Fired up! And I almost jump out of my shoes. But everybody else acts like this is normal, and they all say, fired up. Then I hear this voice, ready to go. And the people around me, they just say, ready to go. I don't know what's going on, so I look behind me, and there's this little woman there. She's about 5'2", 5'3". She's maybe 50, 60 years old. And she looks like she's dressed for church. She's got a big church hat. And she's just grinning at me, just smiling. And she points at me and she says, fired up! Now, wait, the story gets better here. It turns out that she is a city councilwoman from Greenwood. Named Edith Child. That's her name. And she's also known as the chant lady because she does this chant wherever she goes. She goes, fired up, ready to go, ready to go. And she does this at every event she goes to. She's also, by the way, we discovered later, she's also moonlights as a private detective, but that's a true story. True story. But she's well known for her chant, so for the next 5 minutes, she starts chanting. She says, fired up, and everybody says, fired up, and ready to go, ready to go. And this just keeps on going on, and I realize I'm being upstaged by this woman. And she's getting all the attention, and I'm standing there looking at my staff, and they're shrugging their shoulders. But here's the thing, Minneapolis, after about a minute, maybe 2, I'm feeling kind of fired up. I'm feeling like I'm ready to go. And so for the rest of the day, every time I saw my staff, I'd say, are you fired up? And they say, I'm fired up. Are you ready to go? They say, I'm ready to go. And it goes to show you how one voice can change a room. And if it changes a room, it can change a city. And if it can change a city, it can change a state. And if it can change a state, it can change a nation. If it changes the nation, it can change the world. It can bring health care to every American. It can lower our costs. It can make your insurance more secure. I want to know, Minnesota, are you fired up? Ready to go? Fired up? Ready to go? Fired up? Ready to go? They can't stop us. Let's go get this done. Thank you, everybody. God bless you.